Hi, how are you? Great to see you. Thanks for being here. So, who's joining us tonight? Can I see? You can write comments and I can see that you're here. Anyway, welcome to the Facebook Live for the recap of the quiz. Are you ready to meet your mate? So I'm glad to be here, and I'm really excited to review this with you and give you some real great insights and some things to think about as you're starting to think about your 2018 dating plan. Hi, Joyce. Hello. Welcome. Glad to see you here. So fun to see everybody. Come on. So, hi, Jeffrey. Hi. So as people are getting on board here, so for those who are new to the group, I'm Coach Amy Schoen, and I am a certified professional life coach, and I'm also a dating relationship expert. So this is my area of expertise. And I've helped hundreds of singles to find both men and women, to find their life partners. So thanks for being here. I'm glad to be able to share with you some of my insights and knowledge. And also, what I do is I help my clients once they're in relationship to make sure that relationship's gonna go the distance. So there are some really key relationship skills and tools that I share with my clients. So I'm also the creator of the Motivated to Marry Dating Secrets coaching program. It's an online program, and so it's one of those things I use with my clients, and I have clients who work with me in many different ways, and basically I give you the step-by-step tools and strategies to help you meet your mate. And so just on the brief side, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my background, my story, so you can understand where I'm coming from. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing dating and relationship? Well, you see, I was married at 25, and I was divorced in my mid-30s. And I never had any children with my first marriage. And that was kind of like, really the heartbreak for me, that I had the dream of the family and the kids. And to be, divorced at 35, 36, and it's like, the now what? And so I was really kind of, upset about that. And, I went out and I started dating. I'm not one to sit back once I realized that there was no way to bring my marriage back, and I did try. And he just was really wanting to move forward. I went out there and put myself out to date, and I'm fortunate. I like people. I like meeting people, but I wasn't really having much luck. I made almost all the mistakes that I see my clients make. It's only human nature. I always thought this was the one, and I didn't really do enough. I call due diligence before, saying I'll be exclusive with someone. We'll talk about that. That's some of the things that I work with with my clients. So maybe you're frustrated, and I was, I couldn't find anyone. I was out there for almost 7 years before I met my husband. And I had a lot of what I call almost not quite relationships. They would go between 3 and 6 months, only to find out that the guy was not motivated, or there was something that I just really couldn't live with. And so when I turned 40, I hired a coach myself. I knew that something had to change, or maybe I was missing something, or maybe I wasn't seeing something. And I was on personal growth. I like to learn, and I wanted to see what I could do differently. So I will share the longer version about, meeting my husband, because I think it's really pertinent to some of the things as well. And so I met my husband, and we've been married for 15 years, and we have a 9-year-old son, and I have an adorable little kitty cat, Olympia. Maybe you'll see her picture on the Facebook page. And so, I am living my dream of having a family, and Not always easy, you gotta be careful what you ask for. But, we are, pretty happy and, doing what we're supposed to be doing at this stage of our lives. So again, thanks for being here. My passion is to help my clients and help you to date wiser and to give you the tools and know-how to, save you time, energy, and the last thing I want you to do is experience heartache again. So if I can help you do that, then I feel like I've really lived part of my life purpose. So, I noticed that there are like 4 groups of people that do come to work with me or are interested in learning about relationships and may consider working with a coach. So I kind of put them in 4 different categories. The first one is those who really haven't been dating. You don't really know where to start. You put your tensions on other things. You may be busy with school and careers or family or your kids, or maybe family members who need your help. And hi, Ada. Hi. So, those kind of things, not really putting yourself out in the dating world, making much effort, and you're just kind of, if you bounce into someone, if you bump into someone, that would be okay. But, I like to be a little more strategic and a little bit targeted, more targeted with, in my approach, with my clients, and I was myself. So many of these people are coming out. You may be coming out of another relationship that you've been in for a while. You may have been, coming out of a, divorce now, and now you're ready to put yourself out there again. Or maybe even widowed. I mean, I know that I've worked with some widows and widowers. So, those are the kind of people I think, who have not really been taking the time, haven't really put the energy into dating. And a lot of them, maybe if you haven't dated in a while, you're like, oh my God, things have changed. And dating as an adult rather than dating in your 20s is much different. And, we have to look at what we want, and we have to look at our life vision and what really matters to us. So we'll talk more about that, as we go through the quiz and what each section means. The second group of people are those who maybe going out and doing things. They're going to singles events, they're online, but they're not connecting. They're not really meeting anyone, and they say, I can't meet anyone. And they're just kind of going around and around. I call it like a cat chasing their tails. They're just not making any ground, and they're spending a lot of energy. They're going all speeding, going to speed dates and singles events and meetups, and they've been online, but they're just not connecting, and they're not meeting, and they're not really getting dates and that kind of thing. So that's the second group of people. The third are those people who are pretty active in the dating world. They are meeting people. They are getting dates. I pretty much think that that's where I was, once I got going. And they go on dates, and they may date a couple of times, and they may even date someone for a couple of months, but it never turns into an exclusive relationship. Or they think it's exclusive, and one person may think it's exclusive and the other person doesn't. They tend not to choose the right people. And, you can find yourself in relationships. I say that your dating radar is off target. For some reason, you're jumping into relationships and you're finding that it's not, going the distance. And you're not really getting to that place where it's, both people are all in and serious. And then the last group of people that tend to come, that I meet that, seem to want some support and help, is that, like I said, they jump in so quickly. It's usually based on chemistry. They find that, 6 months out of the year, they're in a relationship. They're not sure it's the right relationship. And, again, it doesn't lead to a marriage, and there's many, many years wasted. This can be very devastating because, certain things in life and opportunities pass you by. And I know for myself, I knew that I was pushing 40 and really wanted a family. So, you have to look at your personal goals, and sometimes things have to change, and you have to change your goals and, shift priorities on that. So, That's the fourth group. So, which one are you? Which one, I designed the quiz, to ask yourself, which one you fall into. So I think there's learning in each stage. And if you're not in one stage yet, maybe just to listen and hear. So you're kind of coming attractions and you can be aware of some things, what's coming down the pipe for you. Or maybe say, I'd like to get to this level and then get to this stage and this stage. So any comments? Let's see. We have, okay, I'm definitely in first group. Okay. Okay, so there's, okay, so I'll answer some questions afterwards. I'm going to kind of work on the content part of the program, and then I'll kind of go back to the questions. Okay, great. So I see that some people saying second or third group. The third group, I said never really turns into an exclusive, serious relationship. Yeah. So the fourth group, it is exclusive. You tend to jump in quickly to an exclusive, and it doesn't lead to like a long-term relationship or marriage. Okay. Okay. Can you recap the 1 to 3 group? Briefly, the first group are those people who are really not dating. They really put no energy into it. The second group is they are actually going out and trying to meet someone, but they're not really getting dates. Or if they're getting dates, it doesn't go past the second or third date. The third group is people who are very actively dating, and they may be dating some of the same people, and you may even be exclusive, but it never really goes to the next level. And it may not ever become exclusive. So you may think you're exclusive, and then you find out you're not. Or you're hoping to be exclusive, and then this guy or a woman is not really ready to kind of just be a couple. And the fourth group is basically you've been in a relationship for a while only to find out that it's not going to go the distance, and you're not going to lead you to marriage or a significant long-term relationship. Okay, you guys got it? If not, you can listen to the replay. All right, and maybe I'll put something out there on the Facebook group afterwards. Okay. So now we're going to talk about, how I designed the quiz and what each section means. And I really designed around the stages of dating. And the first one is getting yourself ready to date and putting yourself in the right mindset and really wanting, so you can recognize, once you do this inner work, recognizing the right partner is so much easier. So what I recommend for you is to really make time in your life and put time into it, even scheduling it into your calendar that you're going to either, I have clients who, based on your personality, you have to decide whether you want to, go online, go out and meet people face to face, or do a little bit of both. And so basically, you have to kind of make time for that. And both activities, all of the activities. I have a client, we're working on their online dating strategy, and we're talking about, okay, well, how often do you want to go and check your online profile and communicate? It doesn't have to be every day. It could be every other day. But you do have to put some time and energy into it, and you have to respond to people, and you have to maybe even reach out to people. So that takes time and energy, as well as, signing up for meetups. And I just had a workshop, coming to, work, seminars and talks and workshops and, activities, and whether, going to a meetup or social groups or anything, sports groups, whatever you decide that you want to do to meet people. But you have to, there is a strategy about meeting the right people. So number 6, on the quiz is all about the time and making the time. You got to look at what's getting in the way. What's stopping you from putting yourself out there. And so there's the internal stuff and there's the external stuff. The internal stuff is in your head. It's what's holding you back. For instance, I had a client, and she had what I call the toxic job, and it made her really feel bad, and it was just really a bad environment to be on. All her values were being stepped on. Her name's Robin. You can see her picture on my testimonial page. I'm motivated to marry. And so she actually, not everyone has this luxury, but she ended up leaving her job and say, I'm going to take some time off just to get myself centered and back to equilibrium. And in that time, she did put herself online, and then she did meet her husband. So, but I think it was because she was in a better frame of mind, and she was more open to it, and she was putting more energy into it. I mean, I'm not saying you have to quit your job. I'm just saying sometimes I have clients who actually change jobs. Or I had a client who decided she wanted to put time and energy into dating, so she didn't take an offer within her company that was going to make her travel a lot. And she decided to take another position within the company that might not have paid her as much, but, she valued her having her time, and she knew that she wanted to focus on having a family and all that. So, the other thing is one of the things on the quiz is to gain greater awareness about yourself and what you need. And I work very strongly around relationship values and really having that self-knowledge of what's important to you. Because you have to find somebody who shares, who is online with those relationship values, who is not going to, make you feel miserable, but is going to make you feel wonderful. And so we need to understand those things to really, hone in on the right person. The other thing that I really recommend is that you put together a list of deal breakers. What would you walk away from a relationship over? And, some people say, oh, you make lists, it's so unromantic, but this is to really create for you some boundaries and feel safe. And, you have to really know what your boundaries are. And so when you do the deal breakers, I'm not going to accept this. And so therefore you can actually, not enter into that relationship sooner than later, before your emotions get tied up, before your ego gets tied up, and everything else like that. So the other thing you want to do is talk about what you want, your must-haves. I mean, you must have this in your relationship. So maybe you must have someone who is financially responsible. And what does that mean for you? That they pay their bills, that they're not in major debt, and if they have some debt, that they're being responsible about paying it off, and that you can feel secure about that they're not, kind of just going off the limb with their finances. So, I mean, and that's sometimes hard to know. It takes time to actually know that. But I'm just saying that is if you see that. And I remember that I had a client, and she was dating someone for, and then realized he had no savings, and that really bothered her. And after we did her values, she realized, she didn't want to have to be carrying somebody. And she broke up after 2 years around that. So you have to wouldn't it be better to know this stuff sooner than later, or try to figure it out earlier than later? So the last thing is to really create a plan for yourself. And to make, like I said, that to really, finding people who are going to be aligned with your life vision, your core values, and, really hone in on those right people. So that this is going to give you a better chance to connect when you do put yourself out there. So in the end, you are going to have that clear picture of who you want to meet, and be able to communicate that, whether it be online or to people you're meeting, to your network. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to read the comments. Let's see. How do you turn a first date into a second date? Okay, that's a good one, and we'll talk about that. Okay. Let's see. I'm good. I'm making efforts to be in the second, right? So we have to. Okay. And some comments about what they're comfortable doing. So some people are more comfortable online. Some people are more comfortable face to face. So now that you have this, you're kind of more focused, and who you're looking for. And we're not saying, it may not be physical attributes. I mean, I know, we all know who we're attracted to and who we're not attracted to. But, from the inside, who we're looking for and how we're going to recognize that. So, I give you some tools and things to kind of get past all that and to really get to know somebody very quickly. But then there are those who are actively pursuing relationships and out there, and they're looking, so where do you meet quality people to date? So, the whole thing around 7 to 10, number on the quiz is all about, the kind of things you can do to meet people. And so the top ways to meet people that they've done studies, and this is what I've learned, and this is what I've experienced with my own clients, is, you're going to meet, you have to either go to singles events, date online, or ask people to set you up, people who know that's, going to set you up with the right people. So, you're going to do either one of those, or all of those activities, and all of those are in the Motivated to Marry dating plan. There are sections, and I kind of do a paint by numbers, so I really help you hone in on those kind of things. So we want, to take advantage of the top ways to meet people these days. And so one of the ways is to actually ask your network. And we do an exercise in Motivated to Marry is like, who are your connectors? And you write down a list, and I have a brainstorming sheet about who are your connectors. And then you develop what we call the 30-second infomercial. And that is really talking about the essence of who you want to meet. Really, if you could tell somebody only 5 to 7 things about the person you want to meet, then you really hone in. And if you're going to tell somebody and say, oh, do you know someone to introduce me to? They're going to like say, I'd like to help, but I can't think of anybody. So then, if you give them the 30-second infomercial, or just, those 5 or 7 things, I want to meet someone between the ages of such and such, who's professional, who's looking for a serious long-term relationship, possibly marriage, who likes to travel, and then, you rattle off some of your really core values and things, or things that are important to you. Could be, if you're in your 30s or 40s, it could be somebody who's looking to settle down and have a family. Then you might jog their memory, or they'll keep you in their mind. So when they do run into that person, they'll say, oh, you know what? I need to introduce that person to Amy. So that's the whole thing about the 30-second, and I actually train my clients to do that. The beauty of this is then this actually really plops really nicely into the online profile, some of the online profiles. Some of the sites now, they're really reducing what you can put on, and you have to really be very specific and very condensed about the information you're putting out there. And that's what the 30-second infomercial, it really helps you really get down to the essence of who this person is. And it's amazing when we can really start focusing on that. Then we start, it's kind of like part of the secret when you're a mind and you start focusing on it, then you start attracting people like that to you. It's really cool stuff. So one of the things to do as you're getting out there is really to identify which online dating site you want to put your time and energy into. And, you have to consider your age group and any other qualifiers that are important to you. Your religion might be important to you. Politics might be important to you. Lifestyle preferences might be important to you. Cultural, you may want to date people who are international. You may want to date, you have to put down things, something that's specific. I mean, there are dating sites for every kind of people of all sorts. There's even like a dating site for people who like yoga. So, you can do it on an interest, but I suggest to do a little wider net. So I think it's important to know in your geographic area where people are meeting people and what seems to be working for people who are similar to you. So to try that. And if you've been on a site and it's not working for you, then you really have to kind of think about what you need to do to, kind of refine, review, and edit. Maybe there's some changes you can make. Or maybe you need to go on a new site and try a new site instead of that. So, okay. So a lot of people come to me and they say, Amy, I've tried online dating. It doesn't work for me. And then I say, well, you haven't done it my way. But really, I would say when I look over my clients' base and those who have been successfully coupled, over 80% of my successfully couple have met through online dating. And we're talking all ages. We're talking from 30 into their 70s and beyond. So you got to go where the people are. I mean, if someone is looking to meet someone, and especially, in the new year, they're going to put themselves online. And a lot of people like it. It's to them, it's a very efficient way to meet people. And they can look at the picture, they can read your profile, and so they have a better sense of who you are. And they're, reducing their risk in a sense. I mean, if you meet someone in a bar and there's chemistry, you really don't know anything about that person, unless that bar attracts, a certain young millennials, or, it's kind of a group of people go out and do that together. It just depends on the situation, that you're with like-minded people. So we connect through values, and that's one of them, my little, Amyisms. So it's really important to get a great sense of your relationship values. And when we do that, when we have your list of relationship values, and I do a deep values clarification session with my clients, where we really kind of pull them out and we look at them and we create what I call these value descriptions, like healthy, active lifestyle, giving back to your community, having a sense of spirituality, and belief in God can be one. Anything. There's just, I usually get around 24 per client. And then we look at which one are your relationship values and which one are your personal values. So some of them you don't really need to share with your partner. You just need them to appreciate and support you. Like, for instance, tonight I'm doing this with you, and my husband is taking care of my son. So I have a value around being a catalyst for a positive impact and change and growth. And so he's supporting me on that value. He actually shares that value. He believes in personal growth and helping people and stuff like that as well, but not to the same degree as me. So, but he appreciates that in me, and he supports me in it. And that's what you need from a partner. So you don't need to share every value with your partner. That would be boring. We need, there is a yin yang thing that goes on, and sometimes we seek people who fill in what we're not so good at, or things that we're not, but the core values, I would say, are aligned, and that you have to look for. So we take those values, and when we say, where are we going to meet people who share those values? And we create a list of where you can meet people who share those values. So I met my husband in a group called Bike and Brunch, and I like to be active, and I like that healthy, active kind of lifestyle. And he was in that group too, and he enjoys being physically active and doing things and being outdoors and enjoying the outdoors and all that kind of thing. So that's more of an interest, but that's also a value. So a lot of times those overlap. Okay, so what are we doing? Hi. I'm just kind of seeing. Let's see. Started telling my friends. I found a meetup group, and I like going to my first event. I'm going to my first event on the 30th. Yay! Meetup groups are good to meet people in general, but I have found women. I haven't. And have you found women to date at meetups? Meetups don't, unless it's a very narrow group of people who have a specific interest, or it's lifestyle decisions like vegans or something like that. You may not meet somebody, but you might meet some nice people. And I think one of the goals is to widen up your social network, because we meet people through people. So maybe you make a new friend and they invite you to a barbecue or something like that, or a Super Bowl party, and puts you in touch with other people who may, be the kind of person you would want to meet. So we have to kind of think of what our network looks like. And that kind of goes to the next thing, is develop a network of supportive people to help you through the emotional roller coaster. You do need your support system. You need your friends, maybe your colleagues, a coach, clergy, rabbi, a support group. family members, or any other supportive people in your life. So you have to ask yourself who's in your support system. And I think it's really important, especially when we're dating and maybe our friends are dating and they're really jaded. I hear that all the time. I was talking to my girlfriend that, she went to this party and a couple single friends were there and they're all like, complaining, and so that's, you have to keep a positive attitude. You have to be with people who believe in you. I remember I divorced a whole group of women friends because I felt like they were all Debbie Downers and they weren't supportive of me, and they're like poo-pooing the whole dating and thing. And, I just didn't want to be around all that negativity. So, I had to find friends and hang out with people who were much more positive. Yeah. So that's the second to get you out and get you going. And, there are ways to kind of help you figure out where you should go and what you should do. So I left one site and joined another. There was a lot of the same people on the other one. So sometimes you need to look at people with new eyes, and they're in a different place than you are, and maybe it's funny. Sometimes you keep running into the same people. It's kind of like, what is the universe telling you? And I think I wrote the story about one of my clients who met this woman, and he went out, he liked her. She said, no, thank you. He actually went off and dated another woman. That ended. He put himself back online, and lo and behold, that woman was still out there. So he approached her again and said, hey, let's see, will you give me another chance? And actually this time it worked. So timing is everything. And, sometimes you have to look past certain things. So, yes, those people are out there, but maybe there's a reason you keep bumping into them. So let's see. Yeah. So, okay. So you're in a few meetup groups to wind up your social circle. That's great. And you haven't found any women to date in meetup. So meetup might not be it. So maybe, it's through some other avenue. We meet people where we spend a lot of time. I mean, I know people who met people at conferences. You have to be careful when you're dating people in the same company, and there may be rules about that you have to kind of look into. And it may, I know one company, a lot of people met and got married and it was okay. And I know another company that they, discourage it. So you really have to know your environment and really kind of check the HR, the handbook. But sometimes people are tangential, and they're in another company or they're in another department, or, we connect with people we see that we know, and that kind of thing. And also, your sphere of friends, again. But if sometimes people belong to I belong to a speakers organization. So I know that there's some couples that met through the speakers organization. I know people who are coaches who, met through coaching school or going to coaching conferences. And I have a girlfriend who was a financial planner, and she met her husband at a financial planning conference. So that's not beyond, today. I know someone who who was in a Google Hangout group, and he was in Europe and she was here, and they connected and liked each other, and he moved to the States. So, stranger things that could happen. So you have to be open to it. Third time I'm asking, can you give us some icebreakers for ladies who see a guy across the room they like to talk to? Not, hey, what's your name? If it's something about the event, or I don't know, what kind of event you're in, but you can just start saying, hey, how did you find out about it? Or who do you know here? Or have you come to this, event? Or have you been here before? Just like casual, just be as casual as you can. Just talk to, like you're talking to your friend. And you'd be surprised. Now, a guy's either going to, start talking to you because he's open, or he's going to shut you down because he's not interested and he's not open. And there's nothing you can do about that. If somebody's going to shut you down, then just move on. That's, not somebody you want to be with. But as somebody, you can start a conversation, and then maybe, do you live close by, or have you lived here for a long time? Have you, is there another venue like this that you enjoy? So I don't know exactly where you are across the room. Where, that's the question I want to know. So let's keep going. So the next dating stage, because I know, I want to be timely. We're already on the bottom of the hour. The next dating stage there are those people, the same people, that may want to move things to the next level of commitment, which is exclusivity. So they're dating, and how do you decide to move forward or move on? And so, they're dating regularly, and they may not yet be exclusive. They may be going out, a couple times a week, once a week, or, once or twice a week, or they, every other week. People have like their little, list of people sometimes. And so you do have to make time in your calendar again to have a relationship with someone. And, are you making time to connect? And, whether it be in person or by video or phone, sometimes you don't really live in the same area. Maybe you're not geographically that close to one another. So, it won't fly to say, oh, I can only see you for 2 hours on a Sunday, if you want a relationship, you need to open up your calendar a little bit. Now, I know in the early stages you may have, but as you're starting to date someone more regularly, then it's really talking about where is this going. And I know most of my female clients don't want to be the one to initiate that conversation. I did have a female so they were going together. They were dating regularly. They both belonged to the same social group. He would pick her up and take her there. Now, he was more extroverted than she was, and she knew. She just let him be and go around and talk to people and talk to his friends, and, because they always left together, and she kind of knew, they were going to go home together. I guess they were also physical and everything else like that. So this kept going on, and then eventually says, I don't know, am I exclusive? I'm not dating anyone else. I don't think he's dating anyone else. So I did, kind of push her to have the conversation. And so she did. And she said, are we exclusive? Because I just want to know, where we are in our relationship. He goes, yeah, I'm not dating anyone. We're exclusive. He said, I was waiting for you. I'm like, okay, passive. But, she asked, she got the answer. So, and now they're married and everything. So, so sometimes the woman has to say something. Today as women, we are empowered. We have to, kind of speak up for ourselves. So, so finding time to spend together as a couple is one of the big issues for couples. And we sometimes have to kind of, and I know my more introverted clients need more self-time for recharging their batteries. And so, it can be more of a struggle for them to balance the time for themselves versus the time with their new partner. So that's something that, a lot of people have to work out. So what if it doesn't work out? My question is, how resilient are you? Are you the one who kind of like licks your wounds, or are you going to get up and get back out there again? And, so are you the one, or you might be the one who's saying no, thank you. And how would you handle letting someone down easy? So that kind of speaks to question 13. And not everyone is resilient, but, I found, like, I had a client who broke up with someone in November. There was kind of the writing on the wall. He was not, she'd been in the relationship for 6 months, and, he actually was starting to, what I call end game. He was trying to make things difficult and passive aggressive, so she would break up. And so they did break up, and, she could have licked her wounds and said, woe is me. But then I said, you really need to get out there at the beginning of the new year. That's when many people put themselves out there. And she did. And she met her husband New Year's Day. And you know how long he was online? One day. He met her, and that was it. He was smitten. And then they got married the following summer. So, you know, you have to kind of be ready. You know, you don't want to miss opportunities. So, let's see. What do you say? Like at a bar. So the question is, do you like coming here? Do you like to be close? Do you live close by? Okay, yeah, things like that. Just kind of like, you know, bars can be difficult though. You don't know who's there and what they're there for. I mean, I would definitely see if there's a ring. Not everyone wears a ring. Some people are in long-term relationships. So, you know, why are they at the bar? What kind of bar? Sometimes you're at a sports bar. Sometimes, and some guys actually, you know, want to be with the buddies, and some guys are more open to, you know, having a conversation. If you can have a conversation about something going on or something other than, you know, hey, you know, do you come here regularly? I mean, that's kind of like a pickup line, I guess. So we'll talk about that. Okay, oh, sorry, okay. Well, welcome for those of you who have come on now. And this will be in replay, so you guys can kind of play in the beginning if you've missed the beginning of it. So we're talking about the dating stages, and we're in the third dating stage where you're like dating someone fairly regularly and you're trying to get it to the next level or trying to decide whether you want to go to the next level. So, you know, so the question is, how do you keep yourself confident through this process? And, you know, I have my clients really focus on who they are and what they have to offer to a relationship instead of what they're, you know, the whatnots. You know, I'm not young, I'm not tall, I'm not rich, I'm not, you know, the whole, you know, the I'm nots. That's not going to serve you. You know, people find love at all age, all sizes, all shapes. You know, you all know, and you've seen couples, and you kind of say, huh, why is she with him or he with her or whatever? Because he's a nice guy, he treats her well, and she feels special. You know, that's really what it comes down to. So, you know, I've developed something called the Thrive model, which helps people really stay focused on their positive attributes. So, you know, so you really have to kind of keep those negative voices, what I call gremlins, in check. And, you know, you have to decide how you want to do that and build a strategy around that. And in coaching, that's kind of what I do with my clients as well. So, do you know how to be on a first date? I think we're going back to the before. And let's see, the best times to go on a date, and what should you be assessing on a first date? And, you know, under what circumstances should you go on a second date? So, you know, I recommend you think about these things ahead of time so you have a game plan and you know, like, when you would want to bail and when you would want to kind of continue the relationship. And sometimes it's the woman asking the guy. I know an example. I have a coaching colleague who basically his wife asked her out and said, you know, I really had a good time. I'd like to go out with you again. And, you know, he wasn't feeling so good about himself in those days. He had a business. He wasn't doing so hot. And so I guess, you know, he never really followed up, I guess. And she did. And you know, she said, I had a great time. I'd like to see you again. I mean, it wasn't, you know, a marriage proposal. It was just like, let's hang out again. And it worked out. So you got to have a little chutzpah, ladies. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So, are you ready for conversations on a first date? Can you keep the conversation going? I've created something called the 10 conversation starters. You know, I recommend that you have a list of things to have conversations about, you know, open-ended questions. And, you know, but however, if you're having a struggle to hold a conversation with someone, most likely it's not the right person. And I've had some really quiet, introverted people, and they found partners they feel they can talk, you know, they feel easy, they can talk to, and they can talk forever with. So it really is the person, you know, the right people, you're gonna, you know, it's just gonna click. So I suggest that you have a playbook before you decide, you know, what you need and want from a partner. before you become exclusive. So we're back to the people who are dating more seriously. And I have to admit, I put this together, in the last 2 days, so I could have used more time. So, the Motivated to Marry program has checklists. So, should we be exclusive? And, there's like 10 things you can ask yourself before you become exclusive with someone. And so that feeds into question number 16 from the quiz. So, really kind of have to get a sense of what you need, before you would be exclusive with someone. Would you want them to take down their online profiles? And, a lot of my clients say, I'm not going to go be physically intimate with someone all the way, until I am exclusive with someone. I mean, that's a decision, that's a choice. And I've had clients who, they get physical very quickly, and then they have to backtrack into the exclusive relationship. And I think it's harder from that place. I think it's like, asking someone, well, where are we, before we are going to go the distance. So I have a guy on the program saying women need to ask a guy more often. Yeah. I know how to start a conversation. I don't know how to continue them. Okay. Well, with the right person, it's going to continue. So just know that. Yes, there's a lot of pressure for men to ask women out. So there are a lot of guys out there who are, kind of a little reticent about doing so. And they've been maybe shot down a couple of times, and they're a little nervous about doing so. See, there are guys out there who would be fine with women asking him out. So, okay, great. So let's see. So trouble occurs in relationships when our relationship expectations are not aligned. And I have a list of 10 in my coaching program. Areas such as financial contribution, timing, living arrangements, family involvement. There's about over 28 questions to ask yourself about your expectations and where you are compared to your partner. And if you're far apart on a lot of these things, it's just not going to work. Or you need to work towards the alignment, and that's possible too. So I know that I've done some couples coaching with some of my clients to get them on the same page. And sometimes they're not so far apart. Sometimes it just takes a little tweaking. So, so before we go on to the last stage of dating, anything else here? Let's see. I actually lose some of I wonder if I can move these things. Yeah, I can move it. Okay. I don't see how I can meet people besides being online. Okay. And he's in a band, and I've seen very few women in my musical groups, and so doesn't have a lot of opportunity to talk. Okay, so it might not be the best venue. Maybe not when you're playing. Maybe you can go out to meet up groups who are listening to music, and may sit together and have drinks and discuss things. So, okay, yeah. Okay, good. So the final stage is, you are dating exclusively, and, are you considering engagement? And so there are some relationship skills that I, help my clients learn and define, that really kind of define, whether a relationship is going to be successful. Like, for instance, one is to be able to ask for what you need without the fear that somebody's going to, get mad at you or turn you down or whatever. I mean, your right partner should listen and try to find some compromise and find what works best for both of you. So it's important to know what, the qualities of a motivated to marry mate. And that's something that I have. I share 10 qualities in my book and in my program, such as being appreciative. Also, willingness to be vulnerable, willingness to really share your feelings is very, very important. So, and some of these are kind of, you say, oh yeah, I know this. But to know it and practice it can be two different things, and we may forget. I even had someone who read my book who's been married for many, many years, and she said, oh yeah, it's good to be reminded of these things. We don't always practice. It's like driving. If I had to take a driver's test today, who knows if I would pass, right? We have to be reminded all the little stuff and the things we should be doing, and I should stop, full stop at a stop sign. I do, because I've gotten enough tickets. I do. Okay. Next, I feel it's important to be aware of the time frames of how long you're willing to be in an exclusive relationship before expecting it to go the next level. We don't want to be in a relationship forever and only to find out it's not going to go there. I had a very working with a young woman in her early 40s. And she was with this guy for 2 years, and she was helping it would move to the next level. And I think they thought they were exclusive, but they weren't living together. And I finally helped her have the conversation, and she got really clear through the coaching. She wanted to be married, she wanted to have a family. So she finally said this to him, and he says, I don't want to get married, I don't want a family. And yes, she was disappointed, and she had to kind of, regroup. But she did. And I saw, it was great. It was such a great little, she went and got some new clothes. She got a new haircut, she became really sassy. She was so cute. And there was a guy who was admiring her from afar. I feel like once you close one door, another one opens. And so there was a guy admiring her at work. They weren't working in the same area, but she worked for a big company. And finally had a chance to talk to her and ask her out. And my God, they just were like together. I mean, they just were so aligned, and they were just, he was such a better partner. And that's what I see is kind of like a feedback loop. Sometimes, you're in this almost not quite relationship, and the next one is the one that really makes it. And I've seen that time and time again with my clients. And it doesn't take that long, actually. It's like once you get on this path, once you start working towards this program and the system and everything, you recognize it sooner, and you move faster towards those things. And you recognize it even sooner the next time. And we all learn. We say, okay, what didn't work for us and what did work? So the engagement can take 3 months to 3 years, and a lot depends on where you are in your life, your goals, your age range, all that kind of thing. I have clients who decide they just want to be in long-term committed relationships, and that's okay. And then I have clients who are very motivated to marry, that they get engaged and married within 6 months. Sometimes I think it's a little too quick, but, I understand why they did that. A lot of times they want to start having a family, and that's the motivation. So there are, dating time frame charts in my books and in the programs and stuff like that. So to guide you with that. It's just a guide. And, I had a client, she was, again, in her early 40s, and she met someone, and it took her 1.5 years to get engaged because he needed the time. They needed to get on the same page. If it was me, I don't know if I would have stuck around that long, but she did, and I give her a lot of credit. And then they got married within the next 6 months. So last but not least, you need to know the relationship hurdles, what I call the relationship steps that are recommended that every couple go through before they become engaged. And that's question number 20. So I have the relationship hurdle checklist before you're engaged. So that can be anywhere from in the early stages of dating, your place or mine, do we hang out at your place or mine, to later on spending, time, the holidays with their family or friends, and deciding, about living arrangements. How are we gonna live together? And if so, you're gonna move in here, I'm gonna move in there, or are we gonna get some new place? So, those are some of the decisions, and there are a lot of things that you have to talk about before you get engaged, because after the engagement, if you have disagreements, it's not impossible, but it's much harder. So I like my clients to know what's coming down the pike. I like them to know what to expect and to have those conversations they need to have with their potential partners or the current partners. So what I notice again, that there are always internal roadblocks all along the way, and to finding love and having that relationship go the distance. And for instance, we have many gremlins that are going to stop us in our tracks. And, you have to face them, whether it be, you were hurt in a past relationship and you have a fear of the same thing happening. We can't, I had to trust my husband. This is my second marriage, and I was very hurt by my first husband. And so I had to learn to trust again. It was not easy. So, we have to do that. So a lot of times these gremlins are no longer valid for us, and they're not serving us. And we really have to look at them and build a strategy around them. So, you need to move from fear into, what's possible. So I hope I've given you a better sense of where you are in the dating process and what you can do to improve your chances for finding, true love, and connecting with the right one, because it is all about connection. And so, I'm there with my clients, all 4 steps, all stages, supporting them in their journey. And it is a journey. And I really am honored to be able to do that for my clients. And some of them come to me before they meet that special person. Others seek coaching, in their early stages when they've already met someone, and they want to make sure they're on the right path, and they want to make sure they don't, do anything to derail the relationship. Sometimes they want to figure out whether it is the right relationship, and my process is very good at helping people do that also. So to make sure that they have the best skills and knowledge and understanding of the relationship, so they can really start on solid ground. It's really important. So, very simply, this is what I help my clients do. First, I help them attract and reach out, to the right people. And you want to make sure that they're aligned with your life vision and your relationship values and your critical relationship values, because we know not all values need to be aligned. And, you don't have to share all your values with a partner. Without this, you're going to, understanding. I see my clients, when, people kind of are spinning their wheels and they're dating people and they're really not knowing. I call it haphazard dating. They're really not knowing what they're doing. Next, you can read my clients' testimonials on motivatedtomarry.com. You'll see that a lot of them do talk about the values clarification session as being really the linchpin to the coaching. Unfortunately, not everyone, I have a lot of private clients who will not share their stories online. So this is really just a small smattering of my clients that I've helped and assisted. And I, work with people of all colors, races, religions. I would love to have more on my site, and I'm actually working on that right now so I can show the diversity of who I work with, because what I do is really, truly universal. It's really a people, understanding people. That's what I do. And as a life coach, sometimes I have to help my clients rebalance their life and really make sure that they're making this a priority and helping them make some decisions that are going to, give them the best chance of putting themselves out there and making the time for this. And sometimes there are competing things going on in their lives. And so, I have worked with my clients on finding better jobs and starting businesses and all that kind of stuff as well. So, it's kind of, we have to look at dating and relationship as a holistic system. How is it fitting into your life or not? And you have to ask yourself that question and be really honest. So I ask you, are you truly ready? Do you feel that you're truly ready? And if not, what do you need to do to get yourself there? Would you, if you met if somebody special today that could be your partner, would you recognize them? And I just want to, briefly tell you that when I first met my husband, we went on one date and he never asked me out again. We just weren't ready for each other. And I had to do work and he had to do work. And 5 years later, we run into each other at a singles event and that biking group. And we were both in a better place. And I had done some work and he had done some work on himself. So we were able to recognize that we were good partners for one another. I knew I liked him. I knew he was cute. I never understood why he never asked me out for a second date. I was just too busy. I was one of those very too busy people. See, learn from me. So, what do you need to do to get ready? And then I told you the story about my client who had left her job. Not everyone can leave a job, but how can you create greater balance? How can you, maybe make some boundaries around how much time you work or how much, free, if you volunteer for an organization. I have a client who's just leaving a volunteer position because she really wants to make time for meeting someone, and she knows it just takes so much of her time and how much that was really impacting her. So the second thing I do is I help you fine-tune where you're going to go and meet that person. And like I said, I don't want my clients going haphazardly to singles events and things like that. I mean, you can go out and have a fun time with your friends. That's okay too. But we create a strategic plan for you. My goal is to make your time more efficient and targeted. So I know we only have so much energy, and I know my introverts especially. And so my coaching helps you conserve that time and energy, and you'll feel more productive in the process, and you'll probably be better at it because you're not putting yourself all over the place. I have these worksheets and things to help you figure out, how did you feel when you went to that event? Was this a positive thing? Was it, and would you go back? I mean, are they the kind of people you want to meet or not? If not, let's, cut your losses and try something else. Or let's try to find something that is going to work for you. So it is a process. It's kind of, like I said, a little feedback loop. So when you get the essence of who this person is, of who's the best partner, and then you can really recognize this person, what I find is my clients actually, connect with this person very quickly, within 3 to 6 dates. We have that little poll in the Facebook group, and I believe it. I've seen it with my clients. You do need to get out and meet a variety of people. You do need to widen up your social network. There is a little trial and error. And dating, like I said, is a feedback loop. So we need to refine your search and find the things that are going to work for you, whether it's online or face-to-face. And the third thing I do with my clients is, the most important piece of coaching is helping my clients to get what they need from a relationship and move the relationship forward into exclusivity if that's what they want, and then engagement. And if that's your goal when you're meeting someone, and not everyone here is in that place. So I have clients who've been together for a very long time and they're not married. So even my 50 plus clients become exclusive very quickly. It's really interesting. So you have to have your game plan ready. I mean, it's really important. You have to be able to jump in. You need to know what to ask for in order to feel comfortable, so you would be exclusive with someone and only one person, and cut off your other options. There's a timing to that. And, if a partner's smitten with you and you're kind of on the fence and you don't want to dash that person's hopes and dreams and, by being indecisive. So that can ruin your chances for a long-term loving relationship, marriage. So like I said, my clients range from 30 to over 70. Not only I coach both men and women, I've worked with all ethnicities. Besides the U.S., I've been coaching in Canada. I have European clients. I've even in South America. So I really think that the coaching I do is universal. Love is universal. So, I would love you to have the benefit of my coaching so you could finally get it right this time. And January is when, those very serious people are all seriously searching singles, or all putting themselves and putting effort into meeting someone, that special person. But I can only coach a handful of people on this deeper level. So, and I'm also putting together a new Committed to Love group in the new year. So that's going to be about a dozen very motivated men and women who are really want that extra support and benefit from both private coaching from me and an intimate peer group coaching experience. So, so if you're truly ready and you are serious about putting yourself and finding love now, then, I would let me support you with my Proven Motivated to Marry Secrets program, and to finally meet that person that you're really looking to meet, and the coupled life you envision. This today, that's all we have is today. I'm an action person, so, I like to move forward. So I am offering some Meet Your Mate strategy sessions to a select few who step up and are willing to invest in their personal growth and can learn how to date for a serious long-term relationship or marriage partner. And in this strategy session, I can share more about my easy-to-implement Motivated to Marry dating secrets system and obtain all the necessary body of knowledge. And, I've amassed over the 13 years, I've successfully been helping both men and women meet their life partners and marriage mates. I know this works. And, and having my support and guidance, from me may just be like what you need to move you, and have you find that person in the new year. Just like my coach did for me. Having the wisdom and support of a coach was exactly what I needed to help me, see that my husband was the right one for me. I had some limiting beliefs that I had to kind of work on and get beyond. So we're all busy this time of year. I've taken some time away from my family tonight, and I have limited spots given that's the end of the year and the holidays. So if you're ready to take action, then grab one of the spots. Head over to talkwithcoachamy.com. I will put the link in the Facebook group, and I think it's somewhere in the Facebook group already. Talkwithcoachamy.com, AMY, and you will be taken to my website, and I will ask you to fill out a get to know you form, so I know a little information about you, and then we can schedule a time to talk and see whether this is something that was really going to make a difference for you. And so, if you're ready to take action, then grab one of those spots. Get ahead of the pack. And so, like I said, go to talkwithcoachamy.com, www.talkwithcoachamy.com. I wanted to make it easy for you. There's a longer link, but that makes it easy. And, fill it out as soon as you can. So I really want to thank you. Well, first of all, I'm going to see if there are any questions or anything before, we say goodnight. Let's see what time it is. It's 10 o'clock already. No, we no more questions and things like that. So I'll wrap up. So thank you for taking the time to be here with me and, being part of the Motivated to Marry community. I appreciate your comments, questions, and your sharing. I hope you're finding out some really fun and interesting things from the group and getting some insights, and that's what I love about my group. There's both men and women, and we share. And we don't always like what we see, what people are writing, but you know what? We have to be open to and say, people think that way. And so it's all part of the learning. So I look forward to connecting with you soon individually. And remember, go to Talk with Coach Amy to jump into my calendar before year's end. And for those of you celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and happy holidays to all of you. I wish you all the best in the new year.